All right. Okay.
And what we done now is we done got our go and our no-go set on it. You know, we had our go gauge and the bolt, you know, closed on the go gauge, and we put our no-go gauge in, and it did not close on the no-go gauge, you know, which is what you want, you know. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to cut for the extractor, which is right here on this particular gun. And you'll notice right now when we put the bolt in there how it, let me just demonstrate. Now when you pull that out, you'll notice how you can't see the extractor until I pull it out. Okay? So now I'm going to have to cut a little recess at the bottom of this chamber right here to where it'll go up under the shell.
And grab the shell.
Right, and grab the shell. Yeah, I just want to kind of set it up and show everybody the process here. You know, so I will just simply turn it around. Pull the ejector parts out.
All right, so extractor preparation, I guess?
Yeah, I've already got it kind of set up here in this particular gun right here. You know, you can see how I've got it set up in the vise here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the extractor itself. Here it is right here. And I'm going to take me a little file. I'm going to make sure it's about the same width. You know, it's just a common sense thing. And there's a angle up in here. And I want to make sure that it rests on that angle. I don't want to go in no further than the width of that, which it's about an inch up in there, I guess.
Okay.
And what you could probably do, of course, it ain't gonna let me go up in there no further anyway, because it's, you know, gonna stop. But I definitely want to make sure I hold that same angle. We just keep doing this right here.
Yeah, I can see the filings coming off right now, so it's.
And you want to kind of go slow with it. And you want to look at it, make sure that you're not changing the angle. And I'm using the bottom of the receiver here as my guide.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so.
I see.
That's how that's working. And I just want to kind of get that out of the way, and then I'll kind of square it off, you know, to where this right here will take the place of that.
Yeah. You can see how that's.
Now you can see I've already got the angle cut. And
Yep.
it's going up with the same pitch, same width, and everything.
Back it off a little bit. This camera focus is giving me a little trouble tonight. All those close-ups.
Now that I got my angle on there and everything, what I want to do now, and I may have to, and it's important to keep a lot of old files around, because sometimes you'll have to grind them to make them work.
Okay.
You know? I'm going to try that right there. I'll probably take this reamer here and just kind of go up in there and kind of clean it up a little bit. No biggie. I'm not gonna go in any deeper. We'll turn it up where I can see it. I'm not gonna go in any deeper. We've already got our depth. Blow that off. All I want to do now is just kind of clean it up where I just hit it with that file. Ain't even gonna bother to really oil it or anything. And then I'm gonna just kind of see how this right here is gonna fit up in there. Then I'll take an empty round. Make sure it's empty, no live rounds.
That's why it's so hard to push up in there.
Yeah. And you can notice now how it's on the bottom of that.
Mm-hmm.
See how that
and
pulled
extracted it, yeah.
Exactly. And I've still got a little bit of tweaking yet to do. I'm going to reassemble this, and then I'll show everybody here in a few minutes after I get it all reassembled. And then we'll know for sure if it's going to kick it out or not. If it don't, we'll just keep tweaking it until it does.
Alright. Welcome to the CSI edition of the Professional Gunsmithing series. I just knocked Scott completely off of his microscope. Scott, go ahead and take a look at this and tell us what you're doing, please.
Well, you know, anytime you fit a new barrel or do what we're doing by putting this liner in here, you know, you want to make sure the ejector works. So what I've done is, fortunately this ejector right here, you know, is practically like brand new. So what I'm doing is I'm just basically refitting it to the new liner, you know, because I cut it up at that angle. And I want to make sure this little piece right here, I don't know if you can see it or not, I want to make sure that right here is sticking up far enough to get a good bite on the shell, you know, after it's fired. So I'm looking at it under this microscope right here, and it, you know, it helps to have something like this right here where you could really, especially when you're doing trigger work and stuff like that, because you want to make sure everything's good and flat and even, you know, especially like on a sear. If you're doing trigger work on a 1911 or whatever, you know, you want to make sure that everything's good and flat and even. The best way to see it is just look at it, and the only way you really look at it is through one of these. You know, they've got all kind of different magnifying glasses and stuff, and I've got several different things around here, but this right here really gives you a bird's eye look at it. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at it, and then I'm just kind of hitting the high spots with the stone right here. You know, I'll go over and put it in the vise, and you know, see a few high spots on it, and I'll hit it, and then I'll go over and look at it on the magnifying or under the microscope.
Yeah, because this is really important. I mean, you've literally changed the barrel.
Right. Yeah. You got the integrity of the old barrel, but yeah, you got a new barrel in it now. You just want to make sure everything's fitted up in there, and the man's going to get a new gun when it's all said and done.
All right. All right. So now you're going to do the highly technical test of putting in a spent shell and seeing if it extracts, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what that is, and there you go.
Nice.
That's what it's supposed to do right there.
It's
you know,
over here
and
somewhere.
of course, with these rifles here, you know, some of them are going to kick them out like that. Some of them are just going to kick them out so far, and then you just turn the gun over and it falls out. But
Yeah, because this is a single shot, right?
Right, that's what this is. This is an old model. I think it's an old model 67 Winchester, I believe.
Okay.
Let's make sure. Yeah, old model 67 Winchester. And you know, sometimes they'll fling them, sometimes they'll just drop right out right there. But you can see down here. Let's see how that extractor's fitted right up in there.
It sure is, yeah.
You know, and how that works. That just basically pulls it out. You know, and just put you an empty, an empty shell. After you shoot it, it'll be empty, and then just,
Yep.
kind of flings it out. And that's kind of the principle behind it. So our next step is going to be to crown the barrel.
All right.
So we'll do that right now.
Guys, it's so cool. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at through the microscope on stuff, and that's just neat. But Scott, what are you doing right now?
Well, now we're fixing to crown the barrel. We've done got our chamber cut. We've done got this silver soldered in there real good and everything. So now I'm gonna cut the excess off here. Then we'll put it in the lathe. We're gonna cut us a chamber, or not a chamber, but we're gonna cut a crown. Put a crown on it.
It's getting a little late, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit late.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we do is we just take and take our hacksaw and be just smooth. We're going to smooth it up on the lathe over there.
All right.
We'll just go over there and chunk it up in the lathe. And
all right, I think you wanted to show before real quick.
yeah, there's the before.
We can get it
cut
in
the
focus
crown.
real good for them. There we go. All right.
And then we'll show us an after we get it cut.
Excellent. Okay, now here's this magnificent lathe again, and you told me you did some maintenance on this between shots here.
Yeah, we just changed the oil in it.
Just changed the oil, and you told me it was like $85 worth of oil in this thing or something.
Yeah, I know. It was, almost 5 gallons.
5 gallons of oil.
Not quite, but almost. So we got a little bit left over, but yeah, it hadn't been changed in about 15 years. So I thought it was going to change because we're going to start setting up for doing muzzle brakes and things like that. In the near future. So that's kind of why we're just kind of getting this thing back in operating order. Change some gears here. Let's see what we won't go full speed with it. No, we can, it doesn't matter. Right now we're just going to face it off real good and smooth it out. Now I've got another process where I kind of, kind of round it off and crown it contour to the bore. Because a lot of times the outside of the barrels are not going to be contoured. In other words, the bore is going to be just a little off from the outside of the barrel. So what I always do whenever I put a crown on one, I will take and make sure that it's crowned with the bore.
Okay.
What I always do is I'll go ahead, and you can use the lathe, but I think in this case here what we'll do is we'll use a crowning tool.
All right.
And we'll get that on video as well. Now the lathe, I mean, I just went on ahead, and saved us some time by facing it off and flattening it and getting everything true with it. And we're going to take it off and go back over to the bench. And this will be a good opportunity for me to use the crowning tool, which is done by hand, kind of demonstrate, kind of make another video on crowning as well. In case you got a gun you don't want to put a liner in, but it needs a crown fixed. We can show you a cheaper way to put a new crown on it. The most expensive way to put a crown on it is to take the barrel off the receiver and put it in the lathe and do it. An economical way, it's just as good. Like I said, this right here gets it true to the bore, and it's a whole lot cheaper, and I'll demonstrate that as soon as we get set up for that.
All right. Well, you've moved positions, and you got something else in your hands.
Yeah, here we are over here, back over here in this area here, and what we got here is we got a crowning tool which works really good. And this right here is a real accurate tool, and what it does is it crowns the barrel with a bore.
Okay.
Is what it does, and basically that's what it looks like. And what you got here, you got some little flares that flare out that hold that secure, and you just push it in like so, making sure everything's good and lined up. And you got this right here, and this is your depth. And then you just snug it down in there like so. And what that does is that opens up some little ears in there which presses on the inside of the bore.
Okay.
And now that thing there is smooth, and I mean it's even with the bore in there. All that's precision. It's precise with the bore.
So that keeps it perfectly straight with
Right.
the bore.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now I've got a flat 0-degree cutting tool right here. And of course I did flatten it out on the lathe over there, just kind of save us some time. But I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this right here too, since we're over here. Put your cutting oil on it. Put it on there like so, and you got a little crank here. Now a lot of people use a little drill or whatever, but I always like to just kind of do it this way right here. And basically, this is why I used the lathe, because I didn't want to sit here all night long doing this right here. And you just put your little bit of spring tension on like that, and just a little pressure, and you just keep turning like that right there until that thing is flat and it's perfectly square. And that way it'll be square with the bore and cut perfect with the bore. And again, we ain't gonna have to waste a lot of time on here because I done trued it up with the lathe over there, but I just want everybody to see, what we're equipped with around here. And
Okay.
because you might have a 30-06 or something that the crown's messed up on, and it's a whole lot cheaper doing it this way than it is taking the barrel off the receiver and all that, just so you can get it in a lathe.
That makes sense.
And the same thing, you don't never want to go this way with it, because it'll dull it. Always going this direction right here. Now you can probably see how nice and smooth that is.
Oh yeah,
like
that's
I said, the lathe
it's like
smoothed it
almost
out
a
lot.
mirror finish on
See
there.
all
isn't it?
see all the shavings I just took off. Like I said, had I not put it in the lathe, we'd be sitting here probably for 15 minutes, squaring that off. So anyway, we're done with this particular tool right here, and then we got an 11-degree tool right here. This is the 11-degree. We'll make sure that we got it clean. Same procedure. Make sure there ain't no shavings, metal shavings on it or anything. And again, what this is going to do, this right here is going to put the inside cut in there. And this, is a lot better and a lot more truer than the lathe over there, because, the lathe is holding the barrel in from the outside, and it might not be perfectly true. The drill or the riflings might not be perfectly true with the outside of this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's the way it goes with this. One side of the metal might be thicker, especially on shotguns and stuff,
And this trues
right
it
here
up with the barrel.
With the bore, yeah.
Yeah, with the bore,
Which is where your bullet's going to come out. And, And that's definitely what you want to be, you know, trued in. So, same procedure. And like I said, we didn't cut no 11 degree cut with the lathe on that because, again, you know, we want to make sure it's good and trued in. And it takes us a few minutes to do this. And I oiled it up and everything, so you just basically just keep doing it.
Now, Scott, for those folks that may not know what the importance of a crown actually is, what's the importance of a crown on a rifle?
Well, if you want your gun to shoot accurate, you want a good true crown on it.
Okay.
Because what the deal is with the crown is, when that bullet leaves that muzzle, you got gases that's pushing that bullet. And if it's not true, or if it's got nicks in it, then gas escapes quicker on one side of it as it leaves. Therefore, it pushes the bullet off. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And if it's got a true square crown, you know, then as the bullet leaves the muzzle, it's all going to come out together, you know. Depending on how bad the crown is, you know, if it's pitted up or whatever, you know, the less accurate the gun's going to be, you know. If it's just a little off, probably ain't going to affect it that much. But basically, just what it all boils down to is you want to make sure the gas all comes out even around the bullet as it's coming out of the muzzle, you know. So.
Right.
And you can see here, you know, how much I done took off here, you know, and it's cutting that 11 degree taper in that.
I'm going to back off and let you keep working on that, and we'll show it after it's done.
Okay.
So now, what's this?
Okay, we done got our 11 degree cut in there. I don't know if you can tell much about it or not right now because we got that spud still stuck in there. But anyway, we're going to true up the outside of that now using this right here.
Okay.
And after we get it all done, we'll show you the finished product.
All right.
Same way, the same procedure as the other two. Just moderate amount of pressure. You just keep doing that until you're satisfied with the way it looks.
Okay, end product will be next. All right. Well, again, a few more minutes into it, and do you want to show us the finished product?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know, this got the liner in it now, and then there's that end right there. Of course, the crown end is going to be a lot prettier, you know, because I put it and used my tool on it there and everything, you know. But there's what the crown looks like, you know, all polished up. And
Well, that's just a perfect
oil on it,
crown.
but-
I'm not sure if you guys can see exactly how nice that is, but that is just,
and what I'll do is I'll polish it up and clean it up a little bit better than that. You don't want to get ready to blue it
yeah.
and all that, but you can't even tell the liners in there.
No,
you
not
know?
at all.
So anyway, that's pretty much the procedure to putting a liner in a 22 barrel. And of course, we went over a few other things that, you know, we normally wouldn't have went over. But anyway, all in all, I believe it was a good informational video. You know, if you want to try it at home, hopefully this video will help you out. Or you can sit down here and wield it for you. For small feet.
That's my vote.
Anyway.
All right. Thank you for having us down here a couple times now, and for sharing this with us, Scott. I
and
appreciate
you know,
it.
when we get it all blued and all, maybe we'll show the finished product. And
I think this is definitely a follow-up video, yeah.
so anyway,
All right. Thanks, buddy.
appreciate it.